What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Hope you're doing well, feeling great, and enjoying freedom. It's a great day to have a great day. Today, I wanted to talk about how I just received another pay raise, an interest income pay raise, that is. Not from my job. It would be nice if they gave me a pay raise every couple of weeks, but here we are. Really quick, just in case you're new, make sure to subscribe for a bunch of videos. Subscribe to my second channel, which is my backup channel for bonus videos. Get yourself some DYDSS merchandise to help support the channel. Try out some G Fuel energy formula, $5 off your first order by clicking the link in the description. And of course, make sure to go and get your up to 12 free fractional shares by downloading Webull and funding your account. Every month they have a new promo going on. I'm filming this in July, it's coming out in August, so I don't know what the August promo is going to be, but it's usually something along the lines of bonus free stocks for making referrals, or if you tell 3 friends about it, they're going to give you a spin on the Webull wheel, which gets you a certain amount of dollars worth of free Apple stock. Webull link in the description. Everything is linked in the description. Alright, so today I wanted to talk about some interest income. Now, as I always say, first and foremost, when it comes to savings accounts, which is what I'm talking about in today's video, I'm not really the biggest fan of savings accounts. I'm not completely and totally against them. I think there's a right and a wrong time to be saving, and right now is a smarter time to be saving than, I don't know, this time last year. So when it comes to savings accounts, it's not something that I normally participate in. I created a savings account for 2 reasons. First one was I was talking to a strategist less than a year ago, and while setting up or preparing to set up my 401k, one thing that they wanted to see was a certain amount of dollars in a savings account because, God forbid something were to happen. And the other reason I set up the savings account was because I wanted to save up for something. See, that's what I think a savings account is for. Do I think it's a good idea ever, even if rates are ridiculously high? Are savings accounts for the long term? Absolutely not. Saving currency long term, in my personal opinion, is stupid. Savings accounts are for the short term. Even if it takes you quite a bit of time to save up for what it is you want to buy, whether it be a house, down payment on a house, whether it be a car, down payment on a car, whether it be a cargo van that you want to turn into a minimalistic weekend camper, which is what I was saving up for. Or if you're saving up to start a business, or saving up for an investment of some sort, whatever it is that you're saving up for, if you have something specific that you want to purchase, or something specific that you need to spend those dollars on, that's what a savings account is for. Saving up for something, and then once you've saved up for it, boom, go and buy it. For me right now, I've had the savings account for less than a year. I want to say I set it up either the beginning of this year or toward the end of last year. I don't remember off the top of my head. I set up a CD account in March. I think I set up the savings account maybe a month or 2 before. I don't remember. Anyway, but the savings account I opened up was intended to be my way of saving up for the cargo van. Wanted to get myself a cargo van, turn it into a weekend. Sorry, been making a bunch of videos. I have like no voice. My 3rd video of the day. So I was saving up for a cargo van. Didn't really have anything special I was going to do to it. Cargo van. You open up the back door, the side door, it's, big empty space, like an empty box. That's what I wanted. Put a sleeping cot in there. Get myself one of those coolers that keep things cold or keep ice for 4 to 6, sometimes even 7+ days. Get myself like a miniature desk, a chair, and my plan was to use it as, number 1, a weekend camper, but also a portable workstation, a mobile office. That's what I wanted to do. And that's what I was doing. Then I ended up having to get myself a new car, and I decided that now that I got myself a new car, I don't want to be making car payments and paying for insurance on 2 vehicles. Like, and plus, my job is kind of far from where I live, so I spend a lot of time driving, and I only have 1 day off. I don't know if it's the greatest idea at this time to go and get myself a whole cargo van, turn it into a weekend camper when I would only be using it maybe 1 night every couple of weeks. So I was like, all right, I'll postpone that. But since I opened the savings account, the interest rates have gone up several times. At this point, I've gotten like probably close to 10 interest income pay raises. I forget what it was when I first opened it up. I want to say like maybe, man, there have been so many. I've made so many videos updating what the interest is, but I want to say it was 2.5 when I opened it up, which isn't anything super special. And it worked its way up to 2.75 and 2.9. Then 3%, 3.5%, 3.75%, 4%, and that's when I was just like, whoa, 4% on a savings account? Obviously won't be like that long term, but hey, while I'm saving up for an investment, I'll take all the interest income I can get while I'm waiting. While I don't know exactly what it is that I want to invest in, it's going to be one of 3 different options, but it was 4%. And then they bumped it up to 4.1%. And I made an update on that as well. And then they bumped it up to 4.15%. I was like, man. Well, guess what? I took a look again, maybe 2 days ago. I got another interest income pay raise. I have a screenshot right here. I blacked out the things that aren't supposed to be shared on the internet, how much I have saved and how much I've earned. But look at that, 4.3%. 4.3%. That's a strong yield right there for a savings account, where during normal times, you're not even gonna get 1%. In fact, a lot of the time, you're gonna have a tough time finding a savings account that's offering 0.1%. But rates have been hiked up so much in the last year. The savings account that I use, 4.3% currently. Now, like I said, I don't believe in savings accounts long term, and it will not be 4.3%. It will not be a high yield savings account long term. Rates will inevitably get cut when we eventually get ourselves completely back on track, or at least for the most part back on track. Rates will get cut. But right now, whether rates are high or low, I'm saving up for an investment. I'm saving up for something. It's going to be one of 3 things. So regardless of what rates are doing, I would be saving some currency at the moment. I'm saving up for something. Coincidentally, I'm saving up for something while rates are high. So why not keep it in the high yield savings account? Rack up some interest income. 4.3%. You know what that means? Have any idea what that means? It means for every $1,000 you keep tucked away in there, it's generating $43 a year at this time. And not only $43 a year, but $43 a year broken up into 12 pieces, because you get a monthly interest income payment. And now all of a sudden you have a slightly larger amount of currency in there, $1,000 and a couple of bucks. That's generating 4.3%, which means the following month, assuming that rates stay exactly where they are, you're going to be earning a little bit more next month than you did this month, because you have a slightly higher balance. That right there is the compound effect. That right there is the snowball effect. We talk about that all the time when it comes to investing, but we don't talk about it at all when it comes to saving. And that's because typically saving currency isn't the greatest idea. It's only a great idea when you're saving up for something. or if you just want to have some tucked away as an emergency fund. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. In fact, you should do that. If you're investing or you're stacking or whatever it is that you're doing, but you don't have some currency tucked away, what's normally recommended is a 1 to 3 month emergency fund, which I always agreed with until 2020 happened. And then I said, okay, maybe it shouldn't be 1 to 3 months. Maybe it should be 3 to 6 months worth of like an emergency fund tucked away, which I know is a lot of currency, but a 6 to 12 to 24 month lockdown is also a lot of time. And I remember I was the first one to say, this was back in like early March of 2020. And I don't want to talk about 2020 all that much. It's a dead topic at this point. But I remember I was the first one to say, when the 2 week, whatever they called it, the 2 weeks to do whatever, when that was still first a concept, before we even shut down, before we locked down, I remember I was the first one to say, 2 weeks can very easily turn into 2 months, and 2 months can very easily turn into 2 years. It's probably not a good idea. Let's not do that. Now, obviously, I wasn't the one calling the shots, but look what happened. 2 weeks to stop whatever. It turned into about 2 years. So, and a lot of people, they got their jobs taken away early on. You know, shutting down means a lot of people's jobs got shut down, and you know, it didn't exactly, they weren't exactly unemployed for 2 weeks. A lot of them were unemployed for 2 months, 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, a year, or longer. So it's a good idea to have some currency tucked away, God forbid something were to happen. Now, typically, you should have an emergency fund for something on the micro level happening. Getting laid off of work, getting an injury, an unexpected car repair, or God forbid having to get a whole new car because something happens that's beyond your control, or maybe it was your fault, whatever. You're supposed to have an emergency fund for things that could happen on a micro level. But then 2020 taught us that we should have an emergency fund for things that could potentially also happen on a macro level. Everyone getting their jobs taken away. Just as an example. That's why having an emergency fund somewhere, in my opinion, is mandatory. So that's one reason I have the savings account. And at the moment, like I said, it's going to be one of 3 things. I just don't know, or at the moment, it's going to be one of 3 things. Who knows? Maybe time can go by and I discover that there's a 4th thing. A 4th potential opportunity that I choose to go with instead. So what I'm thinking right now, what's on my mind, is not completely set in stone. It's just an idea at this point, but there are a couple different things that I could do. And I'm not exactly sure what direction I'm going to go in just yet, because I was originally saving up for a cargo van. That was a priority numero uno. And then I changed my mind on that, or I postponed that idea. So I'm like, all right, now I have currency being saved up. For what? Why am I saving up this currency? It's not a bad idea to have an emergency fund, but what am I saving up for? Because the original thing that I was saving up for is no longer what I'm saving up for. So what am I going to get now instead? Or why am I doing this now instead? Why am I continuing to make weekly contributions instead? At the moment, I do not know. But I have 3 pretty good ideas, and it's either going to be one of the 3 or a combination of the 3. One of those is to take the savings account in its entirety, or a portion of it, doesn't have to be the whole thing, and use it for when my CD account matures. If rates are still high at that point, and I can take my CD account and roll it on into a new account at the maturity date, which is February of this upcoming February, like maybe 6 months from now, maybe I can roll my CD account plus the currency that I have in my savings account into the new CD, if, of course, I can lock in a good rate. I currently have a 5% locked in rate with my current CD account. It was a 5% 11-month deal. Lock up a certain amount of currency or a set amount of currency for a set amount of time for a set specific guaranteed rate. That's what I did. 11-month term at 5%. And we are about, I don't know, what, 5 months into the 11 months. So come February, I will have a couple of different options. I can just take the currency back plus the interest that it generated, all that 5%, and do as I please with it, or I can roll it into a new CD. This time, maybe a 12 to 18 month term for potentially, at the moment, what's being offered. Again, rates can go up or down by the time that happens, but right now, for a 12 to 18 month term, you can get a guaranteed 4.75% rate, fixed guaranteed rate, which is what you'd be generating for a year to a year and a half. Or you can go longer for a little bit less, 4.5%, stuff like that. It fluctuates. And at the moment, I don't know what rates are going to look like in February of next year. As I'm filming this, it's the end of July of 2023. How am I supposed to know what rates are going to look like in February 2024? But assuming rates are still high, still appetizing, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to roll my CD into a new CD, plus the interest that it generated, plus some more currency out of pocket. But that's one of the two options. I could take the entire savings account and pump it into the CD if I can get a good rate. Imagine being able to get 4.75%, or who knows, if rates are even higher. I'm not holding my breath. I don't think I'm going to get something above 4.75. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get it as high as 4.75, but as long as it's up there, I'm definitely going to roll over into a new CD. But assuming, or potentially, hypothetically, if rates are still high, I'm absolutely going to be taking at least a portion of the savings account and pumping it into the new CD. So that's one option I can go with. Another option I could potentially go with would be putting it into my regular, everyday, taxable brokerage account and just dumping it into the S&P, regardless of what the market's looking like, because that's another thing. I don't know what rates are going to be like 6 months from now. Well, I don't know what the market's going to look like 6 months from now. Who knows? But regardless, if we're up, if we're down, if we're seeing strong returns, weak returns, dollar cost averaging clearly means that it all averages out long term. And as a friendly reminder, before I move on to the next topic, let me remind everybody, if you are interested in a regular, everyday, average taxable brokerage account, my favorite at the moment is Webull. If you download it and fund your account even as little as a penny, they're going to give you up to 12 free fractional shares just for doing so. And every month they have a promo going on. I don't know what the August promo is going to be just yet, but if you download the app and fund your account, you'll find out. Sometimes it's bonus stocks for making referrals. Sometimes if you refer 3 friends, they're going to give you a spin on the Webull wheel, which gets you a guaranteed amount of free Apple stock, sometimes all the way up to 1,000, sometimes even more. Webull link in the description. Everything's linked in the description. So another option that I thought about was I can put the savings account, whether it be all of it or some of it or a majority of it, I can put it toward my business or starting something new on the side. That's something that at this time I'm personally not really interested in. I just know that it's an option that I have. I'm not interested in that at the moment because I'm far more interested in my job. I would much rather invest my time in my job than something else on the side. I already have way too much going on the side. I'm not really interested in adding even more to my weekly schedule. I'm not even fond of my current weekly schedule, all the nonsense that I have to do outside of work, all the filming, all the this, all the that, all the, creating, game plans and strategizing and all this stuff that I have to do. Like, I don't I don't even want to do those things. I don't even want to go, film and edit and create plans and strategize as it is. But at the moment, that is what I'm doing. So I don't think that's what I'm going to be going with. I don't think I will be taking those savings account dollars and putting it into the business, because that would just create even more. At the end of the day, I'm working my way up toward financial freedom. That is the goal. And what a lot of people fail to realize is that financial freedom, what it should really truly be called, is time freedom. So do I want to add even more to my schedule? If I'm looking for time freedom, is it really the best idea to create more jobs and more tasks, more mundane things that I have to do every single day? Probably not. I'm trying to scale back, if anything. So I'm not really interested in creating more work for myself. And at the moment, my job is helping a tremendous amount. That's how I'm able to make weekly contributions to the savings account that I have no idea what exactly it is that I'm saving up for. But with the paychecks, I live a very minimalistic lifestyle. I don't have a great deal of overhead. I don't have a great deal of expenses. I've reduced my expenses as best I can, and I've also eliminated as many unnecessary expenses as possible so that I don't have to spend a tremendous amount of currency. And as a result, I have a little bit more currency saved up at the end of every week. So I'm able to make, at this point, 401k contributions and getting that 5% match. HSA contributions, which is a triple tax advantaged health savings account, lowers your taxable income, can grow tax-free, and then can be used on medical expenses tax-free at any time, even tomorrow. You don't have to wait until you're retired. So it's triple tax advantaged. I make a contribution to that every week. 401k every week. My own personal Roth IRA, which I'm on track to maxing out for the year. I make a contribution to that every week. My regular taxable brokerage account, which is where you can do your regular buying and selling of stock trading apps. I don't do any selling. I haven't done any selling at this time. All I do is buy. And that's pretty much what I do every week at this point. 401k contribution, HSA contribution, Roth IRA contribution, savings account contribution, and regular taxable trading app, buying index funds contributions. That's really all I do. Those are, I mean, at this point, those are just what I consider to be my hobbies. It's what I'm most interested in. It's what I find fun. The things that I enjoy doing on my day off. Like today, for example, I like going for a walk in the woods. I like going camping, whether it be car camping or standard tent camping. Maybe going to the beach. I work on the Jersey Shore now. Things like that. The things that I like to do don't really cost money. My entertainment is free. I'm not really interested in, sitting at home watching Netflix all day. I'm not interested in going to the mall. I'm not interested in going to concerts. I'm not interested in buying a plane ticket and paying for a hotel and going on all these vacations. Those are just not my interests. I don't care about those things. I don't find those things interesting. I don't find those things fun. The things that I find interesting, the things that I find fun, happen to be free. And the ones that aren't necessarily free, such as investing, it's a hobby of mine. It's the only hobby that I can think of that creates money. So anyway, long story short, it's not like I have a bunch of nonsense to pay for. I keep my expenses at the bare minimum so that I have as much as possible left over every single week, and then I take everything minus, car expenses, keeping a roof over my head expenses, keeping food in the fridge expenses, keeping all those things to the side, the currency left over, that's what I use for all of my contributions. And within the last couple of weeks, I've become tremendously interested in tax advantage. Now, I have been using the Roth for, I think, going on 2 years at this point. But now that I'm finally able to make 401k contributions, and I just learned that I have access to an HSA through my job, and they make an annual contribution into it for me, and then I contribute to it weekly from then on out. Those are tax advantage. The HSA is triple tax advantaged. Why would I not take full advantage of that? And it's not just currency sitting in these accounts, it's currency invested within these accounts. So it's growing. They're all growing. They've all been growing. I'm up 27% in my regular investing app, which I opened up in 2019. I can actually share some percentages. I don't share numbers. I think it's incredibly irresponsible to tell people how much money you make, how much money you save, how much money you invest, or how much money you spend, like dollar amounts. So that is something that I will not share. That is something that I will never ever share. But my regular investing account, my taxable one, the first one that I ever opened up, I'm up 26.6%. My other taxable brokerage account, because I have two, I am up 13.01%. It's currently fluctuating. My Roth IRA, across the board, I'm up 8.81%. And for those of you in the VIP club, which is what I call my Patreon page, if anybody's interested in joining the VIP club, you can watch every single one of my videos early and commercial free, no YouTube ads, YouTube commercials, anything like that. And I post them at 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so you have access to them early in the morning or at whatever time of the day you want to watch it, before the market opens, while the market's still open. Otherwise, you have to wait until later in the day, in the early evening time. And you just, if you don't want to, if you can watch them in the VIP club early and commercial free, or you can do what other people are doing and watching with the YouTube commercials, and you have to wait till later in the day. So it's your choice what you want to do. But if you're in the VIP club, which link in the description, if you're in the VIP club, you'll know that my Roth IRA is made up of 4 different index funds. In the VIP club, I've explained what those 4 are. Here on YouTube, I will not do that, VIP club perk, but it's 4 different index funds for maximum exposure. And when it comes to those 4, I'm in the green 3 of the 4. One of them I'm up 11.02%. One of them I'm up 10.53%. One of them I'm up 4.41%. The other one I'm down 2.57%. But across the board, all 4 blended together, I'm up 8.79%. What else do I have? Oh yeah, the 401k and the HSA, those were both just created within the last 2 weeks. So, to be announced. Those haven't been, those were just opened up. So I can't really say if I'm up or down, because currently it's just the first contribution of the 401k is it will be hitting, I believe, today. And the HSA, I have not gotten to invest just yet. A company made a contribution. I've made 2 weekly contributions, and today I will be setting up the investment side of things. I was just trying to figure out the best index fund to go with, or mutual fund or whatever. So, but anyway, all the dollars that have been invested in the green across all of, oh, and obviously my CD account, I'm generating 5%. My regular savings account, currently generating 4.3%. Since I opened it up, what I've been generating has been between, I believe, 2.5 and 4.3%. So my savings account's in the green, my CD account is in the green, both of my regular investing accounts are in the green, my Roth IRA is in the green, and my 401k and HSA, they're neither in the green or red because they were just opened up. So those are just that's just what I like to do. Those are just hobbies of mine. And I don't say this to brag by any means. I'm not saying like, oh, I made all these wise investments. No, I've had a couple of loser stocks. I've had a couple of duds over the years. But overall, the overwhelming majority are in the green. And more than half of the ones that are in the green are dramatically in the green. I have a couple that are up, you know, like triple digits, 100%, 200%. Some, I believe, maybe even more. So most of my individual picks have been winners. There have been a few losers, and most of the winners were like extreme winners. I don't say this to brag. I don't say this to portray myself to be the ultimate investor by any means. No, a lot of the individual picks early on, I got lucky with. I bought into brands that I was familiar with. I didn't know how to do any type of proper analysis, fundamental or technical analysis. I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know how to interpret an earnings report. I didn't know. I just knew that they were rock solid companies that I was familiar with, companies that I personally use, the company that makes my car, the company that makes the beverages that I consume, the companies that make the foods that I consume. Those were just kind of like the early on decisions that I made. Nowadays, I'm nearly all in when it comes to index funds. I make a couple of exceptions here and there, and I obviously reinvest my dividends, but that's what my focus is at this time. Index funds. I don't have to worry about, oh, which one's going to be a winner, which one's going to be a loser. Let me try to avoid as many losers as possible and stockpile as many winners as possible. Just buy the whole index fund. They're all in there. All the winners are in there. There will be some losers in there, and by default, the losers will get swapped out with more winners to give you the best shot of success. So, at the moment, coming around full circle, I don't exactly 100% know what my savings account, I kind of went off the rails there. I don't 100% know exactly what I'm going to be doing with the dollars in my savings account. I will likely roll them into, or at least some of those dollars into the CD, the new CD when my current CD matures. And if rates are still high or potentially higher at that point, I'll lock it in for a high rate. And if rates have been slashed at that point, I will lock up a smaller amount of currency for a set amount of time. And I'll use those dollars, since I'm no longer going to be benefiting massively off of a CD account or a savings account, since rates are lower, I will take those dollars and invest them into index funds instead. Probably. It's probably what I'm going to do. Who knows, something else could happen between now and then and I change my mind and I go with this instead, but that's all. It's part of the journey, and it's what I'm documenting. I had something very specific I was saving up for, and things changed, and now I'm just saving up and figuring out what I want to save up for. But I was given another interest income pay raise this week. Really excited about that. I made this is, I think, like the fourth interest income pay raise video that I've made, and I said in those, and I'll say it again in this one, I will continue to document the rate going up, just like I will eventually document when the rate goes down. There will be a time, or I assume there will be a time, where I make a video saying I was given an interest income pay cut or something like that, assuming that I still have my dollars in there at the time, and I'll talk about, hey, I just got an interest income pay cut. It was 4.3%. They knocked it down to 1%, so I pulled the dollars out and I put them over here. I'll make a video like that. Unless, of course, I pull my dollars out beforehand and make the investment, or I make the purchase that I decide on before that happens. But point being is that if rates get cut when my dollars are still in there, I'll make a video about it. If rates continue to go up while my dollars are in there, I'll make a video about it. It's just something that I like to do, It's something that I find fun, and this is, after all, a YouTube channel that belongs to me, and I'm gonna make the videos that I feel like I want to make. So that's that. I want you guys to head on down to the comments and let me know anything and everything related to today's video topic. When it comes to investing, when it comes to, or I guess when it comes to saving long term, I don't think that there's anybody out there, I don't know if there's anybody in the world who truly believes that saving currency long term is a good idea. But would you agree with me? Do you think a savings account yielding a high percentage at this time is a good idea? Do you think that there's a right and a wrong time to be saving? Me personally, I think when rates are high, it's not a bad idea at all to save and ride that high yield wave for either a little while or as long as you can. And then when rates get cut, now all of a sudden, high rates, which you can use to your advantage when it comes to saving and CD accounts, now that rates are low, you can also use that to your advantage and apply for a business loan or a mortgage and borrow money for cheap and generate more money. So you can save money and generate interest income in a savings account or a CD account, and then when rates are low, you can leverage money to make money in real estate or in business. I wouldn't recommend borrowing money to invest in stocks, but that's another option you have as well. So when rates are high, you can save money and make money. When rates are low, you can borrow money and make money. It's awesome. You just have to play the game. And before you can play the game, you have to do what I did, which was learn that there is a game to be played. Head on down to the comments and let me know anything and everything related to today's video topic. If you guys like today's video, please hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, subscribe to my second channel, which is my backup channel for exclusive bonus content. Get yourself some DYDSS merchandise to help support the channel in the biggest possible way. Got t-shirts, hoodies, stickers, coffee mugs in a bunch of different designs, many of which are raising funds and awareness for different charity organizations. Try out some G Fuel Energy Formula, $5 off your first order by clicking the link in the description. Sugar-free, low-calorie, packed with a whole bunch of vitamins, over 50 different flavors to choose from. This one's Miami Nights. It's like a pina colada flavor, perfect for the summer, and it also happens to be my #1 favorite flavor of all time. And then, of course, last but certainly not least, make sure to go and get your up to 12 free fractional shares by downloading Webull and funding your account. You could deposit as little as you'd like, even as little as a penny. It still works, it still counts, you still get your up to 12 free fractional shares. I'm filming this in July, so I don't know what the August promo is going to be, but every month they have something going on, whether it be bonus free stocks for making referrals, or whether it be referring a friend or 3 friends for a spin wheel spin, which gets you free Apple stock. There's always something, so download the app, fund your account, get your up to 12 free fractional shares, and figure out what the August promo is going to be. Webull link in the description. Everything is linked in the description. And once again, I want you guys to head on down to the comments and let me know anything and everything related to today's video topic when it comes to saving currency. Obviously, saving currency for the long run isn't the greatest idea, but do you think playing the game the proper way and riding the high yield wave in the short term could be a pretty good idea? Generate some interest income if you're unsure of how you want to invest the dollars while you're still trying to figure things out. Why not generate some interest and earn some money on your money, and then take your money out, invest the money, and earn even more money on your money? Let me know in the comments. Head on down to the comments and let me know anything and everything related to today's video topic. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time. Don't you dare stop smiling. Peace.